power. You know it, Rogue. You know it. I'm just feeling like randomly gaming again. One of those days. Been really rough. It's been pretty rough. But I'm not gonna beat myself up, you know, for not being perfect. You know, it's like I just wish I wasn't so, like, upset so quickly about things. They're out of my control, too. Like, I can't change that I'm autistic, but why do I keep pretending that I can just overcome things? And the wrong kind of things. Yeah, I am tired of how I was treated, but I'm definitely changing. I used to be, like, really, really fucked up. Like, really fucked up. Why can't I perform the action? Oh, it's an amnesia. Is the game too loud? It's too loud for me too. That should be better, right? Yeah. Depression sucks. But we got video games. I can just kill some whales. Okay, let me deal with those ads. God damn it. Oh no, I can deal with them with... But you know what? Like, we're still alive. And it's not gonna be permanent. Like, my situation is not gonna be permanent. Nobody's situation is permanent. You know? I'm doing stuff. I'm doing the thing. Like, so many people have just given up, you know? But I didn't. In fact, like, I completely defined who I am in a way that, like, most people never will. I mean, imagine taking ownership of your body to the point where you surgically alter it to have the body that you need. Like, I'm getting there. It's like, how can I be ashamed of a body that I created? You know, this one more surgery. And I'll have, like, you know, a couple things that I might be a little bit upset about, but we'll see how that is after I kind of settle into post-surgery, post-op. Yeah, I mean, it just makes you think, you know? It makes you think. Like, if working hard doesn't even pay off and just destroys people, why should we work hard? You know? I'm just gonna stop working so hard. Everything should just come easy to me. Like, don't work hard, work smart. Like, everybody says that, right? But what does that actually mean? People say, like, working smart. Like, it's so easy to just say something. Like, what does it even mean? I think it's like, you have to take time. And you have to kind of go backwards a little bit before you go forward. Like, say, like, hey, this isn't working. What can we do to fix it? And then don't move forward until you figured out some new plan. So the drop I'm kind of trying to get is 0.1% drop. We got a 0.1% drop here. I'm a completionist though, and this is the only weapon I can. This is the only final form of a weapon I can farm right now. I'm not equipped. I'm not geared up enough to farm anything better. But I also am a completionist. So, you know, I may as well get it now when I actually need it, rather than later when it's going to be pointless. Although I could wait till a Void Watch campaign. I'm just gonna farm whales. Yeah, you know, so it's like, as much as like things seem shitty, pretty much everyone feels the same way. But also, I'm taking steps. Steps that most people will never take. I should take some like pride in that. When I could have just completely given up on myself and became a complete waste of air. God damn it, paralyzed. Skipped my meditate. What? I didn't have the TP. Yeah, this is an annoying fight too. Because of the amnesia. Unable to use job abilities or weapon skills. He's a pain in the ass. And you know, like he keeps on like doing like weird freaking like giant AoE attacks. There's all these like pugils that are ads. Like it's such a freaking annoying fight. Not even like difficult, it's just annoying. Fighting a whale. Just like real life. And I don't know, maybe people will read about this time period later in history. This might be the Great Big Depression. It's the Great Big Depression, not the Great Depression. This is the Great Big Depression, where we all have to fight whales. Literally everybody has to fight a whale now. You can't just be a farmer now. You can't just be like a fucking like. You can't just deal with it that way. Now you have to fight a fucking oil baron for land ownership. Like, you can't just have like a fucking piece of land. And during the Great Depression, they had it easy. Like we have to play Final Fantasy 11. Imagine that. Imagine that being like your only option. It's gonna be about my life. I'm gonna be famous to history. Well, I'm already a part of history because now we're in the day of post-history. Nothing is history anymore. Everything is current. And it has been for like a long time. Everything on the, like, ever since like YouTube, basically. The advent of YouTube created a post-history world. Because now everything's documented. And YouTube perpetuated an amazing, but also kind of scary, frightening even, like, revolution in the way we document and keep track of our lives. And the way we create, you know, content like commentary or artwork or... Like, literally, like, YouTube has changed the landscape entirely. So, literally, anything now, and everything about it, everything about the current social media is based around, like, the fact that people make YouTube videos. Like, Discord is a place to, like, you know, collaborate together with other creators and your fans. You know, like, Twitter, it's a place to, like, market your brand. Like, everything is surrounded by like this post-history world. Where like nothing is a part of history anymore. It's just current, but at a different time. Like it you know, that was in 2007. You know, this is 2023. It's just a different year now. But like in the year 3000, there's going to be even more like archival methods. It's going to be like Honkai Star Rail. Like, for real. Like, that game is real. You have to, like, stun me or something, like, right when I'm trying to do the weapon skill. I think there's an ability that takes away my TP. I think that's what's happening. So it's hard to self-skill chain against Bismarck. We're probably gonna fight a couple more of these, and then I'm just gonna go go back to Dogates and get some JP, because I need, more than this, actually, like a better use of my time is just literally getting master level on Dragoon. Because that would help me a lot more. I do want this weapon. It's a 0.1% drop rate though. That makes me want it more. Like that makes me want it more because it's ultra rare. Like it's designated as ultra rare. I'm such a completionist. I want like every single possible weapon at like, you know, this is a pulse weapon. From like Wings of the Goddess era. And then I'm gonna get my relic weapon. I need to get my MP weapon, my mythic weapon, and my aeonic weapon. They call it Rima. I also need to farm all my armor upgrades, which take a while to do. But right now, I don't know. This is probably a terrible one to farm, but it's something to farm. Like, how many... Somebody needs to keep a whale counter. Somebody, the only person in chat. Could you imagine if this is what my stream becomes? Is me literally killing whales? It's not a good whale, it's an evil whale. It's like a weird... It's from the void. It's not really evil, I guess. I mean, it's from the void. It doesn't belong here. This is Void Watch. Because I'm watching the void and guarding it. I'm gonna hold the door. Yeah, I'm taking time to like just slowly like work on like drawing. Because drawing requires patience. It requires a really kind of light touch. Like, I can't be like, I have to be relaxed. Like, in order to draw, you have to relax. So I think drawing is really therapeutic for me. But I'm also trying not to like overdo it by like making it into like another grind. Because that's what I do, is I turn things into a grind. When the only thing that should be a grind is me trying to get this 0.1% drop. That should be a grind. Everything else should not be a grind. I should just be enjoying things. And then you actually improve a lot better at things that you're trying to improve at when you stop grinding. Like when you actually like have fun and enjoy yourself in a way that like you're still gonna work on the fundamental skills. And you just have to trust that because it's true. I don't know. I guess I'm donating my life to history. I'm one of those people. And for science, like people can study me. Like people are studying me. Like I've donated my life to the world. I mean, there's worse things in life, right? Hopefully the world can be a little bit better for me being here. I just hope that I don't have to suffer too much. I've already suffered a lot. Not as much as some people, honestly. Some people are absolutely fucked. Like, imagine being somebody who hates Mr. Beast. Like, that person's life must be fucked. For hating Mr. Beast? For like, helping people, like, you know, for paying for people's cataract surgeries? Simple-ass procedure that many people can't afford. Because our healthcare system is fucked. Like, imagine being angry at, like, a good person. Like that person is fucked. Like if that's like their prerogative, like oh my god. That's just sad. So many people too. And then you know like I mean Mr. Beast's friend Christy declared pronouns as she and her and changed her name to Christy. So, like, you know, And, you know, this was a public coming out because she was already living as that way. Privately. Yeah, that's usually how it works with public figures especially. They'll be living as themselves in their private life, and then they'll come out publicly when it's like, when they feel like ready, because it's their own prerogative. It's nobody's business. Nobody should decide like, oh, like what if Asmongold came out as trans? Like, could you imagine? Wouldn't that be a huge plot twist? Maybe not. I mean, it makes sense to me. Not that I'm like, I can't tell somebody what their gender is, but like, you know, that's how stupid it is. I can't say like, oh, this person is trans, this person isn't. Like it's literally just like, wait for the fucking person to tell you. Stop trying to guess. It's not worth it. It's stupid. It doesn't solve anything, and it's a subjective matter. You know, like, here's the thing. You know that little video that's like how to get, you know, it's the don't get canceled on YouTube challenge, and it shows like that character from Arthur, and it says this is a girl, fact or opinion. And I'm gonna be real, gender is always an opinion, but the only opinion that matters is the individual person's. Everyone else's opinion is bullshit, stupid nonsense. Like, someone can, and obviously, like, you respect the person's identity, and you should always do that. Like, I'm not gonna say Asmongold isn't a man, right? I'm not gonna say, oh, that's not a real man. A real man has chest hair. Like, what? Like, what? Like, a real man has muscles. Like, what? Like nobody gets to define the individual. Like, nobody's opinion matters at all. So really, like, gender is an opinion, but it's a personal opinion that should, that like that's literally what gender is. It's an opinion of your identity. Because you don't inherently, like, I mean, you have a sense of self, right? Like, your sense of self is subjective. It's not based on some scientific, like, biological thing. Like, it's just, you exist in this world and you have your own idea of who you are, and it's always been that way. It's never been different. So I think it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun watching the cisgender people. You know, it's kind of fun watching them figure out the stuff that, like, it kind of gives me new insight too, right? Like, we're learning from each other. You know, the trans people and the cisgender people. Like, we're learning from each other because now we're seeing things in a new way that we've never seen before, where trans people have been more visible than we've pretty much ever been in history. And we're finding out new memes. That's great. There's more memes. Don't you guys don't you get it? By denying trans people, like, a right in society, you're denying the world memes. Because right now it's just like really cringe, like it's just really cringe, or it's like actual human rights violations. That's the only memes we have right now. And I don't want those memes. I want actual memes. This is the real heart of the matter, okay? It's not, you know, obviously trans acceptance is good, but we need trans acceptance or we're gonna run out of memes. Reddit is gonna go dry. Okay? We can't let our trans define all the memes, okay? If we define our own memes, it's gonna stay cringe because we're stuck in our own world. We need the rest of the world to, like, make memes with us. That's what life is. It's collaborative effort. We're social creatures. And for the longest time, trans people have been, like, hidden into the shadows. But we're coming out of the shadow realm. We're like, hey, like, let's make some memes together. I don't know what those memes will look like, but because we're not there yet, right? I just think everybody should just shut the fuck up and stop overthinking things. They're like, oh, what gender is this person? Like, you literally don't even know this person. You're probably not going to remember who this person is. Like, why is it important that you know what pronouns they use or what gender they are? If they tell you, they tell you. If they don't, then just fucking just accept the person for who they are. Like, why does it matter? I don't give a fuck what somebody's gender is. That doesn't mean anything except to the individual. If they're like, you know, really proud of it and their strong identity, then they'll let you know. Otherwise, they're just gonna like kind of go about their day like I do. I don't feel the need to like always, like in public at least, I don't feel the need to even mention I'm trans. Unless I'm having a discussion about it, like in like a specific setting or something. Like, I don't want being trans to like be the like total 100% like definition of who I am. Cashew, coconut. Cashew, coconut. Cashew, coconut. You know what I found out? And this is a part of being autistic. That's another thing I don't want to define myself as, but let's talk about it. I found out that most people, when they see a picture of someone yawning, or they are around somebody who's yawning, or if they like, yeah, if they see like a video of someone yawning, it'll make them want to yawn. But I watched like a whole 30-minute video of people yawning. I did not yawn a single fucking time. I yawn only when I need to yawn. Apparently that's an autistic thing. Apparently it's also a psychopath thing. Difference between psychopath and autism. I don't know. There's some big differences. You know, I'm not psychopathic. I'm just big boned. Goodbye, Bismarck. Come on, let this be the drop. Ugh. It's gambling. This is what gambling slots is like. You will lose. Okay, that's enough of that for tonight. Let's just, Let's just get back to capacity points for JP. It is a good way to farm Crore though, but you can do that in Abyssia itself. Oh no, Void Watch is part of Abyssia, not... No, no, Void Watch is... It's part of... Yeah, it's part of Wings of the Goddess, which is when they added Abyssia. Ah! Glitching out. Waipu. Wearing a t-shirt. The little poop on your head. It's a Dragon Quest slime. Because there was a big Dragon Quest when Square Enix, I don't know, there was like a big event with like, it was Square Enix, and they had a Dragon Quest event. That was probably a long time ago, and it's never gonna happen again. So that's like a person who played the game since the original days. I did play the game in the original release for like 6 years. Oh, I mean, over the course of 6 years. My jaw is clicking. I need to be careful about chewing gum. I don't want to get the same corpuscle problem or whatever that when I got facial surgery, the doctor like injected a small amount of like Botox in them to like loosen them up. Interestingly enough, it's like that's like has like a medical effect, like loosening the corpuscles that were tightening my jaw and clamping it down. But, you know, now I'm feeling some jaw pain from chewing gum recently, so I need to relax a bit. You know, which really sucks because chewing gum is good for my oral hygiene. In addition to, you know, using my water flosser when I can't. Oh god, I need to floss. I keep getting out of the habit. I do it for like a few days and then I don't. I'm actually just gonna get to camp and then I'm gonna go to bed. Kind of just randomly coming on right now. Yeah, I'm not like streaming right now for me is like it's like really like non-committal right now. And it should always be that way, you know, obviously, unless I have like if I was like a freaking 10K Andy and getting sponsors, that's different, okay? That's not happening. Yeah, as far as efficiency towards improving my character, oh god, I should have used the job points. Oh well. As far as efficiency goes with time, I'd be much better off just farming JP and Dogates than farming Bismarck. Although during the next Void Watch campaign, I'm gonna do that again. You know what? Let me just kill the monsters on the way to the camp. In true Final Fantasy fashion. Just fight all the random battles. Like, why not? What do I have to lose except for time that I'm already trying to burn anyway? I'm not burning time, but like, sometimes you just need to waste time. Because it's actually more efficient. It's actually more beneficial to like not try to do anything sometimes and just let things kind of work out for themselves. Yeah, I mean, this is a weird junction in history because, like, we have not fully developed, like, policy around social media and, like, the way people abuse it. We don't know the long-term effects of social media, really. I mean, it only came really about since, like, you know, my generation. So, like, what we know is the modern day social media started with, like, you know, message boards and, like, you know, BBS systems and, like, well, like, email lists through Telnet. Like, there were email lists, and people would make websites that were text browser, you know, for their text browser. Like, people would just email HTML files, and you would just browse, like, browse the HTML files locally on your hard drive. You can still do that, especially with, like, you know, only certain websites. If it uses, like, heavy database stuff, you can't do that. But if it's like a plain HTML kind of website, you can actually download an entire website locally onto your hard drive using wget on Linux. It basically scrapes websites. It's for free utility. GNU wget is a free utility for non-interactive download of files from the web. It supports HTTP, HTTPS, and FTP protocols, as well as retrieval through HTTP proxies. Yeah, you can do it when you're not even logged on. It's important because Linux and Unix really is a multi-user multi-user system. So multiple people can be logged into a Linux system or a Unix system at the same time. The reason Bell Labs created Unix in the first place was because they need a unified they needed a unified computer operating system, because the hardware was expensive for researchers to use in, like, universities and stuff and businesses. You would have one computer and people would have to come in and use, like, a teletype to connect to it, but only one person could use it at a time. So you'd have this big giant, like, computer, you know, back in, like, the 60s and stuff, until when they created Unix, like, in the 60s, like, there was these big giant computers that were, like, really big, and only one person could use it at a time. And so Bell Labs, like Richard Stallman and other people, I guess, I don't even know all their names, but they created a unified operating system that allowed multiple users to log in at the same time. So you would use one computer that multiple people could use at the same time, because they had their own isolated little sandbox of local files, but they shared all the same system files. Because that's what a Unix operating system file structure, which is what Linux is based off of. The difference between Linux and Unix is that Linux is like completely, like, open source, and in a lot of cases free. And when people say free, they mean free beer. Like, if someone gives you beer and it's free, you drink it, and that's it. Free means, like, you can do, as long as you keep it free, because there's a GNU public license that people use for free software. Free means that you can do whatever you want with it, as long as you keep it free. If you make it proprietary, you lose the you broke the license agreement. And so if you're making money off of something and you're making it and you're turning something that's free into something proprietary, you can be sued by the GNU Foundation. You know, like I don't even there's like an organization dedicated to like making sure that companies that use free software stay free. They have to actually be licensed by the Free Software Foundation. You know, let's Google. Let's do a little bit of research here. Oop. Free Software Foundation. There's their website, fsf.org. Free software means that the users have the freedom to run, edit, contribute to, and share the software. It's different than open source. Open source is different. Thus, free software is a matter of liberty, not price. You can actually charge for it, like I guess. We have been defending the rights of all software users for the past 35 years, for my entire life. Help sustain us for many more. Become an associate member today. So you can run, edit, contribute to, and share the software however you want. So let's see what that... What is free software? Free software means software that respects users' freedom and community. Roughly, it means that the users have the freedom to run, copy, distribute, study, change, and improve the software. Thus, free software is a matter of liberty, not price. To understand the concept, you should think of free as in free speech, not as in free beer. Yeah, that's what it is. It's free. It's like free speech. We sometimes call it libre software, borrowing the French or Spanish word for free, as in freedom, to show we do not mean the software is gratis. Gratis. You say gratis when you're speaking in English. You may have paid money to get copies of a free program, or you may have obtained copies at no charge. But regardless of how you get your copies, you always have the freedom to copy and change the software, even to sell copies. We campaign for these freedoms because everyone deserves them. With these freedoms, the users, both individually and collectively, control the program and what it does for them. When users don't control the program, we call it non-free or proprietary program. The non-free program controls the users, and the developer controls the program. This makes the program an instrument of unjust power. Open source is something different. It has a very different philosophy based on different values. Its practical definition is different too, but nearly all open source programs are in fact free. We explain the difference in why open source misses the point of free software. And this is the main point in contention between like Linus Torvalds and the GNU and the free software in Richard Stallman and the GNU, because Richard Stallman has like a big philosophy that he started. Like, this is a philosophy of free software as in freedom, not free beer. Like this whole free software thing as in free speech, it's a big grandiose kind of philosophy, and it's like a political endeavor. Whereas like Linus Torvalds, you know, he just kind of believes that people should be able to make stuff proprietary if they use the license that allows it, which is the GNU Public License V2. The GNU Public License V3 doesn't allow that. That if you put it onto a chip, you still have to like allow people to have access to the code. And so like there's this idea of freedom that like kind of also limits freedom too, right? So it's a really complex political issue. Like what about the freedom of people to make something proprietary based on like code from a free software? Like it's a really complicated thing. I really agree with like a lot of this, but like I think it's just sometimes it's a little bit too intense for me. Like different philosophy of Linus Torvalds versus Richard Stallman. Yeah, so like they're the two advocates of different sides of the same coin. That's kind of like the big political like philosophy thing that's going on in like the programming world. Is you got open source and you got free. And free software is more of an advocacy and activism. Open source is more of a business practice. That's Quora. Yeah, Linus Torvalds is a proponent of open source, whilst Richard Stallman is a free software advocate. Torvalds' philosophy is that if you make software available for free downloading, including the source code, anyone with knowledge of and interest in computer programming can modify the system to make it better or for their own purposes. Stallman's philosophy is that software should be free, which means that anyone should have the right to read the source, modify it, and share it. So there's the two differences. Is open source has the belief that if you want to, you can modify it for your own purposes. Which is why free software doesn't work in today's world. It's a reality. You need non-free software in today's world. Richard Stallman has more of a political bent. Like he's like on a worldwide political activism kind of thing. Like he wants the world to be free. But like that's not what computers should be, really, in my opinion. I also think Torvalds a bit of a, has a little bit of a weird kind of bent on things too. They're just people, right? They're just people who are like really big nerds. Stallman launched the free software, but we wouldn't have Linux without GNU, so that's what Richard Stallman contributed to. Stallman launched the free software movement in 1983 by announcing the plan to develop the GNU operating system. It is an answer to Unix, it was a big, huge, basically, the reason why free software movement is a thing was because of like the proprietary giant corporations like Bell Labs and like Sun Systems later, or whatever, that decided exactly which hardware you could use in order to, and basically, like MacBook, like Macintosh, like Apple computers are basically the new version of like what Unix was doing. Which was intended to be composed entirely free software. He and others began developing GNU in 1984. It's still never gonna work in today's internet, like in today's computer environment. Yeah, so Stallman's computer is a refurbished ThinkPad T400S with Libre boot, a free BIOS replacement, and Trisquel GNU/Linux. What? I don't know about Trisquel. I don't know what desktop, and that's probably that's probably just like LME or whatever. Desktop environment is not what decides the operating system. When people say like which distro do you use, and then they like use a picture of like what the desktop looks like, that's not what an operating system is. An operating system is what system of libraries it comes installed with, and which binaries it uses to, and which sources it downloads its sources from, and compiles its binaries from. That's what makes a distro. Like, screenshots don't mean anything. I mean, I guess it kind of does because... Wait, what is the DE? Like, what is the desktop environment for it? Oh, yeah, it's just using mate. That's, the DE is separate from the operating system. This is web browsing applications. Yeah, I doubt this browser works in the modern day world. But it is kind of cool. If you're a computer programmer, hacker thing, it's cool to use free software because you can do whatever it's public domain. Open source model is a decentralized software development model that encourages open collaboration. The main principle of open source software development is peer production, which products such as a source code, blueprints, and documentation freely available to the public. Yeah, so open source doesn't necessarily mean that it's free. Non-free open source software. Yeah, there's categories here. Public domain with source. Like free software is going to be like other free licenses, the GNU licenses, like these are the copyleft licenses. Unlimited rights to the source code. It encompasses all of it. Like any public, like any license that's under these. Non-free is like freeware and shareware. User doesn't receive the source code or receives it under a non-free license or with no license. Words to avoid or use with care because they are loaded or confusing. Ad blocker, access, alternative, artificial intelligence, assets, BSD style, closed, cloud computing, commercial. These are all buzzwords that if you don't know what they are, like it's just like doesn't even matter. Commercial, compensation, consumer, content. Like what is content? If you want to describe a feeling of comfort and satisfaction, by all means say you are content. But using the word as a noun to describe works and communications through which people have expressed themselves adopts an attitude you might rather avoid. It treats them as a commodity whose purpose is to fill a box and make money. In effect, it disparages all the works by focusing on the box that is full. This is like some weird this is like some deep philosophical stuff on GNU.org. Do you see how bent GNU is on like this big deep big giant philosophy thing? That's what the kind of issue with it as a software developer is it's a little too philosophical. It's not really about function, it's more about political agendas. To avoid taking this attitude, you can call them works, publications, messages, like dude, like splitting hairs. Come on, we just call it content. Those who use the term content are often the publishers that push for increased copyright power in the name of the authors, the creators. I mean, why does nobody care about the creators? Whatever happened to the people who provide the content? Jesus Christ. Nobody cares about the creators. Yeah, like there's this huge bent about like making like publishers bad. Like that's so weird. Where it's like what is like Linux Foundation? What's their like how did they run their website or Linux, like let's like Linux kernel website. The Linux kernel archives. This is what Linux is like. This is what Linus Torvalds does. Okay, like do you see any like big like okay, like yeah, there's some like frequently asked questions. Is Linux kernel free software? Linux kernel is released under the terms of GNU GPL, generic public license version 2, and is therefore it is free software. You know, you can it doesn't have every, you know, as the and then it just talks about like, you know, non-free blobs, firmware, executed. Can I use the word Linux or the Tux logo? Linux are registered trademarks of Linus Torvalds and its use is governed by the Linux Trademark Institute. Like there's no big giant like crazy philosophy with the kernel. Like the kernel is literally just like, here's the latest version. Here's the tarball. Here's like, Like, here's all the files that have changed. This, like, pure programmer speak. If you want to learn Linux, I highly suggest using, what's it called? God damn it. Mint. Use Linux Mint. It's like Ubuntu, but more stable. The way you want to use Linux is you basically download elinks. This is, by the way, this is like Windows version. You wouldn't be using Pacman, you would be using apt-get or aptitude. But, you know, like install elinks. There's plenty of help on Linux. Are you kidding me? There's so much documentation on Linux. It is not limited at all, There is so much information on Linux. You already have so much help. You go to elinks, google.com. Oh, oops. Okay. You can switch it to,
This is someone's idea of a practical job, right?
Captain, what should we do?
Arm every SIG for deployment. Initiate launch sequence. Open the pod bay doors. Justice shall be served.
okay. And you go to, Linux mate. Okay. Where would you start? Well, in fact, you don't even need elinks because you should not start on Google. I'm going to tell you right now, you do not want to start on Google. Okay? You start with info. And then you go to, but you specifically go to, you want to read about bash. So info bash. And you read about bash. You read the introduction. What is bash? Okay. Read all about bash. You read all this. Okay, you're still reading this. Read all this. Make sure to read all this. Okay, are you still reading all this? You better be reading all this. Are you reading it? Are you reading it? Okay, now you're done reading it. Okay, and then you do info, so you know how to use info. Standalone info. What is info? The info program, are you reading this? Are you reading this? Okay, you better read all this. Okay, you done reading this? Okay, now you need to go info, first of all, and this is controversial. You need to install Vim. Okay, and you need to, okay. Okay, well, what? Okay. You make dir. Oh, first of all, Pac-Man. Vim. Did I install it already? Okay. You install Vim. Okay. You Vim. And you first of all, you want to touch the file. Vimrc. You Vimrc. Okay. And you like configure it here. How do you configure it? How do you configure it? Well, you go to info Vim. And that just tells you some things. So how do I actually configure Vim? Vim tutor. See? There's a program that within Vim that teaches you how to use it. So you read all this. Okay, now you're done reading all that. Okay. And now you go, you make dir local, cd local. Okay, you make dir bin, make dir source, make dir what is it? And you make a dev, make dir other things. Let's say you want to download a source to something. Well, Pac-Man S. Wait. Make sure to read all this. Okay, and you can get the download only. Retrieve all packages from. Okay, how do you get the source? How do you get the source? Oh, right. ls etc. Pac-Man. That's for configuration. Var cache Pac-Man package, and then let's say which package do we? Let's look at the package for Vim itself. How do I find the package of Vim source? Wait, Pac-Man. How do you download the source? Install packages non-explicitly, in other words, fake their install reason to be installed as a dependency is used for make packages and other built from source tools. Oh. I don't have the... yeah, this is a very limited shell. Because... I don't have any source... I have to download sources on its own. Well, first of all, Pac-Man update. I need to update everything. These are all going to be very unique sources too. But what if I want to install a local file? Yeah, Linux is not an operating system for a non-programmer. That's the first mistake people make about Linux. It's not an operating system for anybody who, unless you're a programmer. If you're a programmer, you use Linux. Okay, like this isn't even Linux. This is MSys2, which is like it's like a shell within Windows using Microsoft make compiler, like the min.gw. So it's all packages that have been adapted specifically for use in Windows. So all the packages here are incomplete, they're not as up to date, etc., etc. You would want to use like a modern distro, such as Linux Mint, or Ubuntu, or Arch Linux, or Gentoo. If you really, really, really want to learn how to program and modify source code, use Gentoo. If you really want to use bleeding edge packages and you like using a Pac-Man, if you like using Pac-Man, if you like modifying like weird random Pac-Man files that are really weird to edit that no other Linux distro uses, then use Arch Linux. If you want to be like a, you know, fedora wearing person. But if you want to modify source code and compile it every time to make custom packages, then use Gentoo. Because it's basically like, Gentoo is basically like, Linux from scratch. And then you could literally just build Linux from scratch. There is actually like a book. In fact, you should read this book in eLinks. Oh, I can't make a new tab. Okay, so eLinks Linux from scratch.org. Yeah, you could literally just get the kernel and just like build only the packages you need without all the extra stuff that comes in with the distro, because the distro is just a bunch of packages packaged together in a distribution. That's the only difference between any kind of Linux distribution. It's just a bunch of packages that are preloaded. That's all it is. So if you want to like download some source code, yeah, let's say you wanted to download, okay, so Vim source code. You want to go to the repository, download, okay. You go to, first of all, do I have Git? Oh, I need to install Git. You love ICO? What's ICO? Are you gonna play the drums for us to Phil Collins? Okay. Okay, so now what we do, CD source, and we get clone. Ah! The fuck? Pick insert. Oh, whoops. Git clone. There we go. Oh. Thought I just installed Git. Oh, from Ico, the game. Enable lock database. Oh god. Well, move R. Move. I canceled it on accidentally. Okay. I gotta actually install Git. What? Okay. And then you clone the repository. And then you could build your own version of Vim if you'd like. You can modify the source code. Okay, and we're gonna move an active development to a different folder. We're gonna copy the folder over to the dev folder. And you should see my Vim RC for my main setup. Actually, do I have it on my Google Drive? I do actually. Just a second. Let's go to my Google Drive. Poo Poo Pikers Magna Charta? What the fuck is that? Oh, yeah, that's Hassan's Discord manifesto. Okay, where's my vimrc? Vim backup, there we go. Yeah, my Vim folder, my vimrc. With all my bundles. Download the Vim backup. Okay, so now copy recursive Vim to dev okay. Okay, where, okay, first of all, okay, here we go. /C. Okay, so okay, now we need to copy /C down users downloads Vim backup and put that in home Becca. Okay. And then unzip. Ugh. Pac-Man S unzip. Okay. Okay. Oops. Okay. Copy our Vim to a parent directory and vimrc to the parent directory, and now local dev vim ls. So now we do vim, see what the makefile has. What? Oh, I don't have the C tags. Oh. Well then, this is a very incomplete version of Linux, of a shell. Like, This is a very incomplete version of a shell. Yeah, it's really messy. I've not really worked in a Linux environment for a number of years. Let's just... Yeah, if we wanted to... If we wanted to change it, like, look at the source code. Let's vim, the main. Kind of see what it... Oh, they provide, Vim is, provides, aid to Uganda. Vim is charityware. You can use it in copies as you like, but you are encouraged to make a donation to needy children in Uganda. So if you use Vim, you're supporting a good cause. Basically, this is all the libraries it includes. What is my... Okay, what is the... I had like a table of contents. Like... Okay, let me look at my vimrc. I got bundle. Well, that's basically how you use Linux. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's very extreme. I'm just going to bed. I'm just being silly. Someone was asking about Linux, Jess. Oh, I also solved the problem that we were talking about. I solved the problem. I solved the problem. I solved the problem. I added a 5-second delay to the rendering of the display capture and webcam, and added the further 5-second delay to my microphone and all audio sources. iPad. So yeah, now if anything bad happens on stream, I have 5 seconds to cancel it. I've solved it, Jez. I have escaped the Matrix. I have escaped the Matrix, Jez. I have escaped the Matrix. I have escaped the Matrix. I've solved the problem. I need to go to bed. I'm really tired, okay? Alright. Thanks everybody for being here. I just randomly played some Final Fantasy 11 randomly. Not really much going on. A lot of personal stuff continuing, just more bullshit. More of me being a crybaby. I wish I wasn't a crybaby. I try not to be. I'm aware of it. I'm doing steps to fix my life. I need to just get the fuck over it and just stop complaining about my supposed lack of effort. Okay, when I'm literally doing like everything possible with all the resources I have available, but there's only a limited resources. There's only so much I can do. There's things outside of my control. There's forces at work that are bigger than me and are out of my control. I fixed it. I fixed it. I fixed it. By the way, you don't have to worry either. I'm logged out. Yeah, I'm logged out, so but you know what I mean, right? I was logged out. The whole time. I was logged out the whole time. But yeah, jebaited. You got jebaited. You got jebaited. Yeah, okay, bye.